You could start your own business idea. And that's the beautiful thing about what all three of us do. All three of us are talented at a skill set and have a trade. That trade is either converted into services for dollars or for sweat equity. I got an opportunity recently. I haven't heard from the guys actually. I am a co-founder. I'm going to be on the investor deck as a small investor as the tax guy. And the only reason why I did was because of my content. They looked into me. They found me on YouTube. They watched the things. They checked me out on LinkedIn, and then they reached out to me and they offered me equity in their company to be their accountant. And I said, of course, I absolutely will take that. And the only reason why that's possible is because, like Josiah just said, putting yourself out there. I did the podcast. They're there forever.
Welcome to our very first episode of the Proven Results Podcast, where we don't just talk about it, we be about it. I'm Juan Garcia, owner and founder of Gold Lake Media, where we focus on branding, sales, and communication. We have Josiah.
My name is Josiah Minton. I'm an attorney here in Texas, living in Dallas right now, and I help attorneys and other professionals with all of their personal branding, content, marketing needs.
And I am very excited to have on our first guest, none other than Justin McAuliffe, CPA, otherwise known as @CPA JMac. And I just want to tell you why, and if you know CPA JMac already, Justin McAuliffe, if you know him, this interview is going to be a little bit different because he actually knows the same mentors that me and Josiah learn a lot of communication from. He knows Andy Schwartzer. He talks with Andy Schwartzer a lot, co-faunder of Flux Official, Flux TV, right? He's been to a Vegas Dave event contest with Pauly D, where Michael Sartain was hosting. Justin was literally standing right by me when I shook Michael Sartain's hand for the first time, right? So we have a lot of history there. We've done a lot of work together. We've been through a lot of situations. The election just happened. We're going to have a segment on that. And we're also going to drop some marketing because JMac is just such a good marketer himself. So very excited to have you on, JMac. Tell them a little bit about yourself, because I'm going to get into the first hot take segment. Go for it, JMac. The mic is yours.
Some introduction, brother. It is an honor and a privilege. Just glad to be here and just glad that this is continuing and we're growing, and the best is yet to come. I am Justin McAuliffe. I live in New York, grew up on Long Island, a certified public accountant. I'm the founder of CPA Enterprises. We are entering our 4th year, and we are a full-service tax and accounting firm focusing on high-quality books and records, tax planning, consulting, business operations, etc.
Awesome. So super excited to get into our first hot take question, and I'm gonna start with you, Justin. So listen up. This interview is about you.
Okay.
Check this out. So first hot take question of the day. All right. So we all went through like the first part of quarantine, right? COVID-19. Here's what I want to know from you guys. When do y'all think quarantine, lockdown, when is it going to end and we're actually back to normal? Start with you, Justin.
Wow. Okay, cool. So I think we're almost done. Okay. In my personal opinion, I believe we're almost done. I believe that this entire year has been a show. It's been a movie. It's been an entire production leading up to what I feel very strongly. Something my father-in-law said to me in the beginning of this is that, I mean, he's an old school Vietnam vet. And he said it to me right away. He's like, "Oh, this is all about the Trump and the election in November. Watch, you'll see. The election will happen and then it'll go away." And look, the election happened, it went away, but we still have a lot of things going on. For one, I understand what's going on. I understand people are scared. I understand people are upset and people have died and contracted virus, and I totally respect that. It sucks. But there's a lot of things that happen each and every day, and we tend to focus on the things that we are seeing and what's put in front of us by whomever, social media, marketing, whatever it might be. And I do feel very strongly that what we are experiencing is something unlike anything we've seen. But when we look back on history, we're going to recognize how scared we were of something we shouldn't have been scared of. And I feel that we are very divided as a country, but united as a world for the first time in global history. Everybody is watching this country. Everybody is watching America right now. And I do feel once we get past this election, the results that happen, I do feel very strongly that we are going to go into a period of time where this is going to be more presentable in terms of actual facts and circumstances. I think one thing we can all agree on, regardless, is that there's a lot of false truths and lying and contradictory behaviors and statements. It's just making the entire process very, very confusing for many, many people, which is just creating more fear. But I am here, and I'm here as somebody that's not fearful. I am very confident. I am very, very confident in the future. I'm very excited about what's to come. I feel like we are entering a brand new time in this world, and it's going to be freaking beautiful and amazing once we get past this American election. My opinion is that it's going to be a very, very Merry Christmas for all of us, and we are going to ring in the 2021 year louder than we've ever ring in a year in the history of this globe. My opinion.
That's awesome. That's an awesome take. Josiah, what do you think?
I love that sentiment, and I would love if that actually happened, but I think the country is still in fear. I really think it is. When we have these large events going on for Halloween, for example, Juan and I held an event that we had in Austin, Texas for Halloween, and what we saw was a gathering of a lot of people. And I think that when in that 2 to 3 week window, when the COVID outbreaks from those events really start to pop off, we're going to see huge increases. And I think we have in a lot of places already. And now we're going into the holiday season, meeting with older family members. As much as I would like to think it's over with, I think, especially if we do have a new president in office, I think it's going to go on for quite a while longer.
Okay. So that's interesting, right? Because I feel like we all have three different takes here. So my take to begin with, dude, you got to realize, dude, when this first happened, the government was like, all right, let's do a 2-week quarantine, right? I think it was 2 weeks. Was it 2 weeks?
14 days to slow the spread.
Dude, everyone was like, all right, let's just all not go outside for 14 days. And I was like, I think we were on JX4, I think we were on JX4 Masterminds, Justin. And I think I said this on that podcast, but I said, yo, we're going to have to quarantine a lot longer than that. But they didn't want to freak people out. They didn't want to blatantly say, oh yeah, we're going to quarantine for months. So I think at that point I had said, yo, they're going to go into lockdown. They're going to open up. They're going to go into lockdown. They're going to open up. And it's just going to happen. Oh, we're quarantining for another week, or we're in lockdown for another week. And it's just going to keep going. But what I think, just being, I'm just being straight up, scientific here, is anytime, the virus is still out there. We don't have the vaccine. And then anytime you do open up, you shouldn't be surprised that there's an outbreak. Oh my God, there's an outbreak. Of course, because you opened up, right? At the same time, Michael Sartain talks about this a lot, Josiah, right? Human nature is people are going to want to get out of the house, right? Mm-hmm. So I was actually looking, and real quick, I'll end here in a minute, but I was hearing the other day that in the early 1900s, that pandemic, that one lasted for 3 years. And that got me thinking, okay, well, we have a bigger population now, and we have freaking people still traveling all over, right? So, I mean, it could just keep on spreading until we develop a vaccine, or until, just everyone kind of gets the antibodies, right? My parents already had it. A few family members already had it. No one died, thankfully. But, that was kind of my thought process that we're just going to keep going into lockdown. So I think it's going to be a while, but of course I would love that to happen, Justin, if everything just got back to freaking normal. 2020, we're going to 2021. Speaking of 2021 and 2020, I feel like you haven't, we haven't been on a podcast together in a while, J-Mac, so you have a lot to update us on. Tell the people at home, before we get into what you're up to now, just tell the people at home a little bit about yourself, those that don't know you. Because you, by the way, guys, this is an exciting first guest. Like, I'm so happy. Like, he actually bullied me into being the first guest. I told him who might be the first guest, and then he was like, I'm the first guest. He was like, no, cancel him. I'm the first guest. And I was like, hell yeah, let's go. So, by the way, guys, for you that don't know him, he's the most hardcore CPA in the world. So take it away, J-Mac. Tell those who don't know about you who you are.
Hardcore is that interesting. Well, how does that translate into being a CPA? And it really doesn't. It's just at the end of the day, I mean, a CPA and accountant, you're going to do your job. It's just a matter of you're going to enjoy working with the CPA. I'm not afraid to share my opinion. I'm certainly not afraid to get aggressive and bend some gray rules where needed. I'm a certified public accountant, state of New York. I've been in the industry for 15 years, bounced around a bunch of jobs throughout my career, found a niche within the small business tax department in a few of the jobs that I was at. And then I basically just developed my career from there. One thing I noticed during my career is that the books and records were always very poor, always very sloppy. Bookkeeping in general was very sloppy. It was hard to teach to the younger generation of accountants within industry. It's one of those skill sets that you just need to have. And it's one of those things you're either going to learn it on the job or you're not. And it is essentially the language of business, is the accounting. It's a code. It's a language. It's an art. The general ledger flows. Money comes in. Money goes out. Where is it going to? What type of money is it? Is it an expense? Is it an asset? Is it income? What type of income? Is debt? And it's a language. You have to put together all these credit card swipes throughout the year into this, what's called the general ledger. And it's essentially the coding of your entire business, the inside of your entire business. And I've always taken great pride and interest in putting those numbers together. Yeah, it's mundane. Sure, there's a lot of mundane work, but once you put it together and you build a system, like a financial statement tells a story, it tells a beautiful story about a business, whether it's being successful or not. And as a business owner, when you have access to that information and that data, when you're swiping your card and writing your checks and paying your bills, that you have somebody on the other side putting that all together for you in a nice, readable, digestible format to then tell you the story on where your business went, what your business did last month. It's powerful information. It's super powerful information. As a business owner, you have so many things to think about. To have all of that data within your system, within your brain, just because you hired a bookkeeper that knew what he was doing, it's powerful stuff. And yeah.
And speaking of that, it's powerful stuff for a business owner. Speak a little bit about how you've been able to really help your clients with that and what they've seen. Like Proven Results podcast, what have your clients seen?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of different examples. I mean, look, Poor Books and Records. One of my bigger successes was at a restaurant company. They had 4 locations, 3 different entities, plus a management company. So it was 4 different companies owned by one person. And they would transfer money back and forth to feed the different businesses. It's called intercompany transactions. And, one company transfers money to another, et cetera, et cetera. It creates a tremendous amount of accounting. And if it's not done properly, you can either code it up as a balance sheet item, which doesn't give you a deduction. Say, one restaurant borrows money from another to pay for supplies. Well, that's a deduction over there. The problem is that if you're not putting the accounting together, where you might think it's a deduction, you don't get the deduction for it, which means you're overpaying on your income tax. And what happens is when you have all these different entities and you're not creating an intercompany matrix, because if it's robbing Peter to pay Paul, but you can't double dip it either. Like it has to come under one roof because one owner has it. What happens is that it gets sloppy. And 10 grand rolls into 20, rolls into 50, rolls into 100 of missed deductions because you're not paying attention to how the flow of the money is going between the entities and nobody's looking at it. So it just gets posted up as a non-deductible item. It's just kind of what happens. Anyway, long story short, it was like $1 million in deductions over a 10-year period. got rid of all of it. Got to get a whole ton of money back for this guy, all deductions that he missed in prior years. And you can still take it. I mean, these were mistakes. That's why you amend tax returns. And we amended tax returns. We got him back over $1 million in deductions. No joke. It was over a 10-year period. It just accumulated. It was like 10 grand a month, just accumulating in undeductible items that were very deductible. And it sucks. People overpay on payroll tax all the time. I see that all the time. People overpaying in payroll tax. They don't understand the difference between an LLC and an S corporation. Many, many times I'm able to come in and look at that and just elect a simple form, and I can save you 15% on payroll tax almost immediately just by electing a simple form. I get to do that a lot. Simple bookkeeping can be as well. Looking through credit card transactions and finding fraud. I got a brand new client right before lockdown. I didn't keep him for that long because of lockdown, but one of the first things that we were able to do was download all of their credit card activity, analyze it all. We were able to locate and isolate an error because it was a vendor we didn't recognize. It turned out that error had been done in prior periods by the client's former staff, but they didn't pay attention to it because it's boring. So they didn't ask the question. He didn't have people that were running through walls for him. I run through walls for my client. I ask for every freaking question because it's what you're supposed to do. It's analyzing, it's investigating. It was fraud. Guy was getting charged. It's like $7 grand over a 6-month period and just fraudulent charge. They got his credit card, hit it, and then just kept hitting it. And he didn't even pay attention to it because he had his accountant writing it up. It's just simple things like this that can just create so many headaches. I mean, I can go on, but that's what I got for now.
Right. And you said, you work so hard for your clients, right? But like for the people at home, you got to realize like, it's not just him. I've actually met his team, and like he's realistically, it's not like you see him here in the webcam, right? Like it's not just some small firm, him by himself, getting all this done, right? Like even his team performs better than some teams in the bigger firms, right? Like, would you disagree, Justin?
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. And I'm not just saying that. And it's not about me, though. It's about the system and the process. I saw the process. I see the system. I see how the industry is working. It's very, very broken. I know how to fix it. I tried to fix it in industry, but they wouldn't let me because I wasn't a partner. And I didn't have decision-making power. So you know what? I'll do it myself. So there's nothing special about Justin and CPA Enterprises. It's just that I've built a better mousetrap, and I am able to provide big four type service at small business pricing. And yeah, it is the team. I have a whole team. I have CPAs. I have domestic resources, international resources. I work with accounting firms throughout the entire globe, from Australia to the Philippines to South Africa and Scotland and the UK and Canada. I talk to accountants throughout the entire world because accounting is the language of business, and it is universal language throughout the entire globe, and we're fluent in it. I mean, anybody that's on my team is fluent. Tax professionals, accounting professionals, CPAs. I mean, I'm just the quarterback. I don't have all the answers. I got my wheelhouse. Stuff gets complicated sometimes. It's over my head. I bring in my mentor or some of my C-suite guys or, more in-depth code heads. Like I got a guy on my team who's like a code head. He knows the IRS code inside and out. He knows freaking everything. And he's brilliant. And he's on my team. And it's just a great guy to have because anytime I have a hard tax return, it goes right to him. I don't even touch it.
Definitely. That's awesome. And that's how firms work, right? It's not like you don't necessarily have to be the best. You have to know, especially being a leader and an entrepreneur, you have to get the best people, put them in the place to make your clients happy. And real quick too, speaking of entrepreneurs, small business owners out there, I think the people that don't know you super interested in how you mentioned in industry you weren't a partner, right? So how did you start your entrepreneurial journey? I know how you did, but let the people at home know.
So I was in public accounting. I tried to make some changes there. It just wasn't working out. My career path wasn't in line with theirs, and I left industry. I went to a private bookkeeping company because I saw the opportunity in the bookkeeping. The bookkeeping sucked. The young professionals coming into the industry didn't know how to do it. The accountants in these bigger companies always struggle with it. The outsourced companies, yeah, they were doing it, but they weren't doing it like an accountant, like a CPA should really be doing it. Data entry is one thing, but analyzing it, reading it, digesting it, and then translating it is such an art. It's such a skill, and it's all within the books. And I thought, I didn't take Gary Vee's advice, right? Like I wasn't ready to just do it on my own. I didn't just, jump ship. I had to get thrown out of the ship. It's the only way. It was sink or swim, literally. I mean, I got fired. It didn't work out. A whole bunch of other crap happened in between there. That's a story for a different podcast. But really, it was that sink or swim moment. It's like, all right, I was too much of a chicken. I was too scared to start my own company after I left public accounting. That's why I thought if I hooked up with a brand that was already built, I could, just kind of do my thing there. But you can't. A guy like me, I'm not employable anymore, unfortunately. I got to do it on my own. And I was able to build a brand based on books and records, understanding how CPAs and accountants worked and tax firms work, big firms, small firms. And the biggest pain point was always just the numbers. It was just getting the organized numbers. And that's the bookkeeping. I mean, everyone talks about key performance indicators and financial modeling and all this fancy stuff. And that's great. But if the general ledger sucks and the numbers don't tie out, it's worthless. I mean, the KPIs are worthless. The financial modeling is worthless. And I knew that. And it took me 4 years, but I mean, I got here. I mean, it made a lot of mistakes in my first year. I didn't know I was going to be my own business owner. Like I said, I was fired, and it was either go get a job or start my own thing. So I started my own thing. And, some things I had in my brain immediately, like my colors and my brand and, kind of how I wanted to grow my practice. But over the next 3 years, it was a different firm each year. Like the first, it was one firm 1 year, a different firm the second year, a different firm the third year. You've seen me grow since year 2. So you've seen a lot of the changes that have taken place. But, ultimately for me, I was sick of working in industry. I was billing out $600 an hour for my time, getting paid $90,000 a year, working 90-hour weeks. Freaking miserable, absolutely miserable. I mean, it was just not a way to live. It's not a way to go about my life. And I couldn't deal with that. So do it on your own.
Right. Definitely. And I want to get Josiah, since this is your first time meeting Justin, I want to see if you have any questions, so think about if you have any questions, but first I want to also get into this. You said that you're unemployable, right? You're like a guy like me is unemployable as far as having that big firm over you or those partners, that corporate over you. But what have you seen? Like, earlier I said you're the most hardcore CPA there is, right? How have people reacted to your brand online? Me and Josiah talk about brand all the time. How have people reacted? I mean, and I'll tell you right now, audience, me and Justin have been in some heated debates, some heated discourse in the professional world on LinkedIn, places like that, right? We just have so much history there. But how have people reacted to, the way you come across? I think that's super interesting, super fascinating, actually.
People don't come at me anymore because they just can't argue with me. So it's just it's a losing argument, because the thing is that I'll go and type it, then I'll do a video, then I'm not hiding, right? So I will discourse you all day, and people like to just be little trolls and type things out, right? We know who we're talking about. And look, I'm not, you either love me or you hate me. That's really what it comes down to, and that's fine with me. I'm either going to be an acquired taste, or I'm going to turn you off immediately, or you're gonna buy in right away. And look, I'm not going to change the person I am. I mean, I'm not going to be somebody different working under CPA enterprises as I'm out in the world. Like I'm who I am. I'm a CPA. I'm good at it. I got an opinion, and I don't mind being controversial. And people, that's very uncomfortable for people. Now, how have people responded? For the most part, positively. I mean, the problem is that people don't comment too positively because they'll just love you and then not really do anything about it. If they don't like you, they'll do more about it, but it's the smaller percentage,
Yeah.
But that's why the DMs. It's always about the DMs. It doesn't matter what's on the page. It's what's in the DMs. Like who's
Let's
talking.
go.
That's what it's all about. Those are the people that matter. Those are the people that talk to you. Those are the people that see you, and they're just not brave enough to put it publicly. So what? Who gives a crap? I mean, it doesn't matter to me. But look, people, one of the things is people are really happy that there's somebody like me saying some of these things about the accounting industry and some of the inconsistencies and the frustrations, non-compete agreements, for example. And somebody needs to speak up. I was always that guy. It's just, again, I mean, when you're a manager or an employee, your voice is very, very small, and it's got a lot of people and different, they get it. But at the end of the day, how much can you change in a big firm? And, overall it's been positive. I mean, I get a lot of good feedback on Instagram. People don't tend to argue with me anymore. I think that's all kind of died down, to be honest, because either they've already blocked me or, whatever. So that's fine. I'm just not going to look, I know what I know. I know what I don't know. And I also know that there's a lot we can all be doing way better, like way better. And we just sit in this sense of comfortability and we forget to go outside of our zone and kind of challenge ourselves. And people don't like that rocking the boat, but it's just because I know we can do better. I mean, I always knew we could do better. I mean, we were underservicing our clients because we were protecting our billable rate. It was ridiculous. Like, it just never made sense to me. And it's always about the client. The better the client does, the better we do. But people just tend to kind of, fend for themselves. And I get it. I understand. Trust me. But we're accountants. We're supposed to be the trusted advisor. I mean, it's a great pride to be an accountant. It's a great pride. I mean, our clients should be forever. JJ's had clients for 30, 40 years. I mean, when you build a relationship with the client, it's with the CPA, it's a very intimate relationship. They know about your money. There's 2 guarantees in life: death and taxes. I mean, your doctor knows all your intimate stuff. They've seen you naked. I mean, people are more intimate about their money than they are their bodies and their health. And that's a fact. I mean, that is a true story. But we need to take that back. Like, we are the trusted advisors. Accounting is the language of business. We need to take that back. We need to start doing things more for the industry and giving back to the industry, because nobody's done that. This freaking COVID thing is proof positive on it, with the PPP loans and no help or guidance from the New York State societies or the AICPA. I mean, they just let these accountants run amok on tax Twitter trying to figure out PPP. Well, then that's why JJ the CPA is famous now. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, nobody was helping the industry, and that's why we're doing this. Nobody is taking ownership of this industry. And, that's going to come with a lot of heat, and it's going to come with a lot of criticism, and it's going to come with controversy. No problem. I'm prepared for all of that. But to the victors go the spoils. And all the good stuff that comes with it is just outweighing it tenfold, because if it was easy, everybody would do it. And that's why it's hard, because you have to get through all that crap. But once you do, it's sky's the limit.
And Justin, I think the story that you tell about being fired, I think that's a situation that a lot of people in this economy with coronavirus are going through, whether that's losing their job, or whether that's an industry just not becoming financially resilient for them. So my question is, I'm very interested in how people start out these businesses and how they grow. Marketing is a topic that me and Juan frequently discuss on this podcast. So my question for you is, how did you go about getting your first couple of clients 3 years ago? And how does that compare to how you got your last few clients in year 3?
Great question. So the first few clients, I kept a couple. I was fired. There was some lawsuits with non-compete agreements and stuff. I experienced all that. I won. I beat everybody. So I got what I needed. No problems. Yeah. It was stressful, right? But I got to keep some. Some came with me. And then it was referrals in the beginning. Like, purple and red, talking about marketing and branding, purple and red were my colors. I had the logo set up pretty quickly. I had it in my head. I knew the colors I wanted. That was important to me. And then I had a landing page, and then I just it was just referrals, just doing the traditional networking thing. When I connected with Gold Lake Media and Juan on Twitter, that changed because then it went into the content marketing. And that continued for a while, both on Instagram and LinkedIn. And that is like the mixer, right? That's like going to a networking event almost every single day. Since COVID, that's all kind of changed, right? I mean, just the way people are marketing are different now. But I got to tell you though, Josiah, like, the one constant is just referrals from clients. Like, that's just never changed. That's just always been the best one. I was able to make a bunch of connections on LinkedIn, got some clients there. I got some clients on Instagram, referrals. But now it's changed because I have a bunch of years worth of contacts and I did Facebook ads for a while and I got a bunch of leads. I made some money, but now I have all these other contacts and I'm going to start nurturing them. So what I have now is an opportunity. I've been around for a little bit. I've accumulated a ton of data. I have a bunch of contacts. I have some success. I have some failures. And how it's going to change today is that I'm really going to go more towards a organic referral based, intimate client relationships, and then nurture basically anyone I have in my Rolodex, and taking my pedal off the metal in terms of aggressive going out there and, brand. I kind of have that proof of concept already. I kind of have that social proof. I have a ton of content. I have a ton of podcasts. I have landing pages and sales funnels. I got all this great stuff, and it's there. I mean, it's never going to go away. I mean, people are going to use it forever, but now I'm going to nurture all that, bring it all together, and really, put it out to pasture and see how I can make it work.
No, that's awesome. And that's actually exactly what I was talking to Josiah about, like right before we started the podcast. Is this podcast, right? We can't post something like this podcast and expect to like just get clients, right? We're posting this stuff and making this content to create this platform to where when someone new finds us, we have all this proof. We have all this social proof, right? We have our testimonials out there. We have people that might not be our clients, but they like us, and you can visually see that like on podcasts, right? So yeah. And then there's the part 2 of that, where it's like the behind the scenes work. You mentioned the DMs. It goes down in the DMs, LinkedIn messages, whatever you want. I would say this too. I think a lot of people actually expect to get clients just by posting content. That's a very dangerous game to play if you're not actually doing some type of outreach, some type of lead gen, right? Like you can't just, it's called hope marketing is what it is. And it's just, you'll end up going broke, man. And just like making content is fun, but you can't just stay stuck there, right? Like right. Business is not all about content. It's only one freaking piece. So no, I love that, J-Mac. Anyway, let's get into, all right. I feel like the people at home who didn't know who you are now, at least a little bit. Let's get into the election, man. Let's get into the election. I know you know a lot more about QAnon than me and everything going on. Like, what do you think? Like, feel free to go off. This is
you sure?
The fun, dude. We're in the second. We're in the second half of the podcast, or
okay.
The next segment. I know. I'm telling you guys. Am
I? You unleashing me right now? Because I don't know.
Yeah, it's time to go. The first part was regular podcast. All right, we didn't. Who doesn't know Justin? Here's his story.
Yeah.
Here's right. Let's go. Now we're gonna have some fun.
All right. So I'll keep this. I'll keep it to the best I can.
All right.
No, I will. I'll keep it, and then y'all just kind of guide me, because I want to be respectful in your show and your audience, and I don't want to offend anybody. This is very sensitive times. This is very, very sensitive times for a lot of people. I understand it. I get it. I empathize with it. I feel it. I feel the pain. I felt the joy. It has been such a stressful year for everybody on the planet. I said this on the COVID task force. How many times, Juan, did I say our realities are up for grabs? I'm on your podcast now in November, right? And you fact check me right now. Did I or did I not say that back in April when we started all this, that our entire realities are up for grabs? Immediately, I knew something was going on.
Definitely.
And we've all been stressing it since, and we've been feeling this overwhelming just sense of change and fear and unknown and uncertainty. I mean, mothers and daughters are fighting, and I mean, people don't like each other, and there's a lot of divide. But for the first time in history, I said it before, like, we are all going through the toughest times in our life at the same time. Granted, everyone's got their other things, right? But overall, we can all agree, the election is stressful, and COVID-19 and lockdowns and mainstream media and all these things that are happening. Censorship, right? It's especially in this country, right? I mean, our censorship, it's insane. But what happened last weekend was pretty incredible. For the first time this year, a group of people were able to have an elated sigh of relief, like a sense of joy and success and happiness and victory, like for the first time all year. I mean, yeah, the Lakers, I didn't even know the Lakers won the championship, and the Dodgers won too. I had no idea. Like, I am just so all out on that. I just can't get behind it anymore. And and even that didn't really have that, but everybody just had a sigh of relief. Okay, it's over. And then the orange man is bad and he's out, right? So that's the other thing too, right? So beautiful. Okay, it's over. Great. Well, I feel very strongly that that was needed for us as a human species. Like this, we are all connected. All right. There's no such thing as Democrats and Republicans and Chinese and Indian, and well, we're all humans. That's the only thing that matters, is we are human beings with needs and feelings and emotions, okay, and wants and desires and dreams and insecurities and stresses. That is existent within all of us. And we have been conditioned really to just not feel that. And it's just, it's obvious to me. It's palpable. I can feel it just by walking around the neighborhoods. And when Biden was elected the victor, when Biden was announced by the media as the winner of this election, it created a sense of unity for the first time in this country in a long time, and it was desperately needed. I'm glad you had your party. I'm glad you guys had a good time, because when history retells this period of time, it's going to be known as World War III. That's my personal opinion. I believe it's going to be known as World War III. And World War III is a spiritual and informational war. This is not fought with guns. This is fought with information. And I believe that we can almost all agree on this, whether we like Trump or Biden or not, that the media has been lying to us for a long, long time. And everything that is happening now is proving that. Fraud, no fraud, this one's reporting this one's reporting that, this one's censoring this. That should start to bring our alarms up and be like, wait a second. What is going on here? Like, where did we come from where we stop trusting the people that are in our family, right? The ones that we know wholeheartedly, that we grew up with, and had pains and trials and tribulations and successes and happiness, right? Our mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, aunts, uncles, whatever it might be. When did we stop caring about that family unit and look at them as bad people, but then we go to the TV and take whatever they say as gospel? Have you ever had lunch with Don Lemon? Have you ever had an argument with Rachel Maddow? Have you ever broke bread with Tucker Carlson? So why are we believing all of these people, especially because we've seen such inconsistencies come out from the COVID numbers and the spread and the deaths? And now this is being said. It's just creating a tremendous amount of chaos within our world right now. So I feel that this has all been part of a tremendous military operative known as QAnon. And I feel very strongly that it's real. I know it's real. I know it's really happening. I don't watch the TV. I feel like the World War III we're having is against the media. I feel like the news is fake. I'm talking about from AP to New York Times to Wall Street Journal to CNN to Fox News to, they're liars. They're just liars, and they've been proven liars. And it's very difficult to have conversations with people these days because they are so dependent on this information. And it's cognitive dissonance, really, is what it is. It's a complete shock on your system. It's a complete shock on your reality. I hated Orange Man too. I did. I thought he was despicable and nasty and racist. I thought all that stuff too. But then it just stopped making sense to me. Like, I just started scratching my head on certain things, and I started researching it myself and started independently. And once you start to do that, you go down this hole of information, and you just find out that, there's a lot of really interesting things that these conspiracy theorists believe that really need to be explained. I'm a 39-year-old man. I'm a pretty smart dude. I'm really good at my job. I work in a really hard industry, so I have some confidence in my intelligence. If I'm thinking like this, there's no way in hell I'm the only one that's thinking like this. And if I'm asking these questions, we used to say that in school all the time, right? Or the only question you don't ask is a stupid one. Well, all right. Well, are lizard people real? Is the earth really flat? Is COVID-19 really there? Bring it all up. Bring it all to the table. What's the truth behind Jesus? Bring it all to the table. Why don't we know? We see all this technology, to go on a quick little tangent. Why don't we have a camera on the moon right now looking at a live stream of the earth? I'm just thinking out loud for a second, right? Why doesn't even that exist? Where have we come from where we haven't been able to prove certain things are or aren't JFK assassination, 9/11, Titanic, whatever it might be. But now I'm getting fact checked every time I post something about COVID or the election. That's really weird to me. Like, why are we able to fact check COVID results and election information in real time on social media with this little tag? Yet there's conspiracy theorists throwing all sorts of misinformation about a flat earth and a JFK conspiracy and lizard people and moon landing and 9/11 and all of this stuff. Yet none of that gets censored. None of that gets tagged. None of that gets fact checked. What is that all about? I think it's all about the QAnon movement, the military movement to awaken all of us up. We have been programmed and conditioned for 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years. Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra. Operation Mockingbird is a conspiracy theory where the CIA was propaganda. Look, let's go to Nazi Germany for a second, right? As we're sitting here today, and I know we've probably discussed it in school, and how were they so stupid? How did that happen? How did they get themselves in that situation? What do you think? Overnight, Hitler woke up and just started rallying up Jews and putting them in a gas chamber? It's not the way it worked. It's known history that it was a propaganda machine, and they tricked everybody into believing that these Jews were bad people and deserved to get murdered. Only until after it started happening were people like, oh, what the heck what's going on here? And now we can sit here and like, oh, how could they be so, what the heck was wrong? It was propaganda. The media. I mean, Operation Mockingbird is the Nazi Germany propaganda machine on freaking steroids in 2020, because not only do they have the print media back then and the radio, they got both of those now, but now they got the TV, they got the entertainers, they got the late night talk show hosts, they got the movie stars, they got the freaking athletes out there with propaganda, they own social media, for crying out loud. I mean, that's not a conspiracy theory that Twitter is censoring things like crazy and Facebook is censoring things like crazy. That is withholding information from us, the general public, independent thinkers, critical thinkers, that we can decide for ourselves what is and isn't. And when you take that from me, that rolls up my alarms. Like, wait a second, I can't think for myself? If I want to believe the freaking earth is flat, well, then I want to believe the earth is flat. That is my opinion. That is, and that is certainly up for debate. Why am I going to have Mark Zuckerberg? Like I said, I ever break bread with Mark? Like, do you trust Mark Zuckerberg? Why? Because he has a couple of nice videos with his family and some interviews and stuff. You don't know who he is. How do you know who this person is? Like, people have a hard time trusting accountants, for crying out loud. You're going to trust, Chris Cuomo on the TV only because he's talking loud and fast? At the end of the day, we all want truth. That's all we want, is truth. We want truth and justice. And I strongly, firmly believe that we are seeing the ultimate propaganda machine in World War III right now, just completely misinforming the public, misinforming the American people, the world population on what's going on. And look, the QAnon is about truth and human trafficking. That's what they're about. They stop the child trafficking. 800,000 children get taken in this country a year through child trafficking. What are they doing with them? I mean, what are they doing with it? And how do we not know that? How do we not see that? The media is able to fact check election results before the freaking counts are even done, but you can't tell me where 800,000 kids went? You can't tell me what really happened on the moon? What the frig? That doesn't make any sense. How can you tell me that the CDC has changed all this information about COVID and fact checkers on Facebook are able to basically completely either debunk or confirm your post in 2 seconds? But you can't explain to me why the media hasn't talked about 800,000 kids being stolen each and every year. And that's where the rabbit hole goes. It goes all the way down to that. The human trafficking and what are they doing with those children? And if you believe in the QAnon movement and you believe it as a military operative, and if you believe that Donald J. Trump has been put on this earth to save us from these traffickers known as the freaking Illuminati, the goddamn cabal, they're real, folks. I mean, prove me wrong. Fact check this podcast. At the end of the day, our kids are being stolen because these mother effers, they're slaughtering them. They're murdering them. That's a real thing. The adrenochrome is a real thing. It's adrenalized blood. These kids are tortured. They are raped, and they are mutilated, so their blood can be adrenalized and drained and drunk. Don't you think it's strange that every single celebrity is backing Biden? Like, don't we think it's strange that every single celebrity is backing somebody that didn't even campaign? How is that possible? Like, how did that even happen? And the reason why it's happening is because we are freaking addicted to the TV. We are addicted to strangers telling us the truth, and they have been lying to us. They are exposed. And the reason why they have been lying to us is because they have been hiding this trafficking nonsense, stealing these kids throughout the. Remember all the bombs that happened in October or August? Right? QAnon say that was bombing all of the underground military tunnels that were trafficking children. I know this shit sounds crazy. I can't believe I'm saying it on a podcast. But at the end of the day, it only sounds crazy because it is literally unbelievable. But turn that off. What if? And if you go down the what if, and then you start to challenge yourself, because that's what it is. It's the informational war. The answers are out there. I'm not the only one talking like this in the world. I'm not the only one. I'm not the one I didn't discover this shit. I went out and watched videos. I read articles. I started following people on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Started putting the pieces together for myself. Like, what makes sense? What makes sense? Yeah, you know what? Tom Hanks is a pedophile. That's messed up. I mean, isn't it strange that anybody that has called these people out have then been suicided? Like Anthony Weiner's laptop, we just forget that all the cops that saw that thing, 9 out of 12 of them are dead. How is that possible? Why isn't the media talking about that? We love Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack. We love those shows, right? The Tiger King. We love these suspenses. We love that's real life too. Why is all of a sudden 9 out of 12 cops killed, suicided, or dead, whatever it might be, that saw the Anthony Weiner laptop? Sidney Powell was the attorney for the prosecutors on that. She's now Donald Trump's attorney, and she's all over TV. She has seen that laptop. This isn't even Hunter Biden's laptop. Okay. And that's the thing. People say, well, if it was real, everybody would be talking about it. No, knucklehead, because if they were talking about it, then means then I'm wrong about my theory on the media being the freaking enemy right now in World War III. And if they are the enemy, which they are, of course, they're going to censor things that you're not supposed to see. They don't want you to know about the trafficking because they're the ones that are doing it.
Yeah. Can I talk about that real quick?
Yeah.
So you said if it was real, everyone would talk about it, right? That's not true. That's not even close to true. There's this concept.
That's what they say.
Right. So there's this concept that came up, and like it is an information war, right? And you're not the first one to say it. There's this concept. I just want everyone. I like what you said too about Republicans, Democrats. Like there's no Republicans, there's no Democrats, right? There's ideologies. That's what there is. There's ideologies, and there's this concept that came up in the 1970s. I forgot the book that it came out in, but it describes these ideas, right? So these ideas are called memes. They're called memes, believe it or not. MEME. So I'm not talking about the offensive memes I post on my Instagram, the official Juan Garcia Jr. But so what memes are, kind of like the intellectual world. What memes are just ideas, opinions, thoughts, right? And they can be spread really, really fast. And eventually the dominant memes, the ideas that everyone agrees with, the dominant ones overtake the recessive ones, regardless of truth. That's the scary part. That's why media wants to get information out so fast. And I was actually growing up playing this video game. It's called Metal Gear Solid, and we have a big fan of it. Favorite game of all time. Taught me a lot about the world growing up, honestly. And Metal Gear Solid 2, that game is about an information war where everything everyone was believing was a lie. But because too many people believed it, they didn't question the lie, right? Too many people believed it. They didn't question lie. The media was owned, right? They had this different type of Illuminati that got information out faster than anyone, right? And they were basically like, no one can compete with us. You can try to have a power struggle with us and get your information out, but no, you're just like too weak, right? And at that point in that certain game, here's the scary part. Here's the interesting part. Looking into the future, this game was sort of in the future because they developed this AI, where this AI spread information too fast, just way too damn fast, where, you know, podcasts didn't really matter. We knew that if we got everyone to agree with our meme, which would spread fast, then we basically make whatever we want a reality, right? You said it earlier. Everyone's reality is up to grabs. Another scary thing is about, you mentioned kind of some people on CNN, some people on Fox, right? It's almost like memes are so strong, they can make you do things that a rational, not socially conditioned, even though everyone's, let's say social conditioning doesn't exist, but a rational brain, a rational creature just wouldn't do. So if I tell you, even if it's something true, if you don't agree with it, it's not true to you. So that's why it's so hard to have debates with people that are so far to one side. The reason they're so far to one side is that meme, that idea is just in their head very, very heavily, right? So some good stuff there. But
Conditioned, man. It's just conditioned. It's
and that
programmed.
game that I talked about, that game was made 20 years ago, by the way.
I remember it. I don't remember the storyline, but I want to say, so there's two quotes here that I love. And look, I get it. I know people are watching this and like, holy crap, what? Listen, don't believe. Who am I? I'm nobody. Where did I get this from? Why am I thinking this way? And I don't know if I'm right or if I'm wrong. I don't. But I got to tell you, my belief system is certainly a lot more fancy and happier I mean, that's why I'm thinking this is all going to end after Christmas, because I do believe in this. And I know we're going to find out one way or another. Look, Christians believe in Jesus, Catholics, I mean, we all have our own beliefs. Okay. I'm finding my own spirituality in this world that we're living in. Okay. But Mark Twain, and we all know who Mark Twain is, and he's got a very famous quote. It's easier to fool people than to convince them they have been fooled. I thought the quote was deceived, but it's the only one I can find. I wanted to make sure I quoted it online.
That's interesting.
So the way I say it is, it's easier to deceive people than it is to convince them they've been deceived. And that's a fact. That is a hardcore fact. And the reason why that is because the CIA director is quoted in 1981. Go look for yourself. I mean, just think about this one quote. The CIA director in 1981, if we remember our beloved John F. Kennedy, who was assassinated and murdered, okay, you want to go look down that rabbit hole and the truth on that. Where are the fact checkers on all that information on YouTube? I don't know. So either that's real or the fact checkers are biased, but that's a different thing. The CIA director, JFK had said, and I'm paraphrasing this one, I'm going to splinter the CIA into a million pieces, because he knew they were corrupt. He knew they were bad people. And later on, the CIA director, William Casey, says, we will know our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false. That's called Operation Mockingbird. That's what it is. It is a completely dependent propaganda misinformation campaign to trick us, because they know what Mark Twain knew, that it's easier to fool people than to convince them that they're being fooled. And I'm the fool that's trying to convince them they're being fooled, and my job is way harder than their job.
Yeah, that's that's super interesting. No, dude, that's an awesome quote, because in fact, that game I was talking about earlier, the main character that you play as in that game, the whole time, like, people are telling him, like, it's fake, right? Like, he's in a simulation, right? And he didn't want to believe it. He was like, no, like, how could this be? This is real. Like, let's go on with the mission, right? It was a simulation at the end of it. Like,
Spoiler alert, guys.
Spoiler alert.
You ruined it.
Not that you're going to go play it.
It's like giving the end of Sixth Sense already. I think we have enough time. I think enough time has passed.
That's hilarious. No, it's
true, man. Look, it's heavy stuff, right? And I don't know who's watching, and look, if you're going to dismiss it,
this is the second half of the podcast.
If you're going to dismiss it, then that's the point. Then they win. Okay. If you're going to dismiss it and think, oh, it's a crazy person, then they win.
Dude,
right?
easy. Yeah. If they say, oh, this crazy person, easy money.
Done.
That already tells me you're easy money to be convinced. Your reality is really up for grabs. And because I'll say this real quick. Traveling made me think like this too. Traveling the world made me think like this. I just realized, I am who I am. I'm one person, and there's my brain, and there's what I think, and I really have to filter out what different people say, right? So I like to see what both sides say, right? What do all these different media channels say? What do they believe, right?
What are they selling me?
I
It's
just
marketing. It's a marketing campaign. That's all this is. I mean, this is a business podcast. I mean, it's a marketing campaign. They are marketing. They're trying to sell you something. What are they trying to sell you? Fear. Why? That's why. That's why they're trying to sell that to you. Now, in my belief, going back to, because you asked me, about Q, and I believe it's over. I believe that we are just unfolding, and we are just trying to have people realize that we have been duped for decades and maybe even longer. And we're young guys. Look, for me, I never read the newspaper, and I'm blessed. I always thought it was weird. Like, I don't know. There was something about it. I always felt dumb not reading the newspaper or watching the news. Like, but the people that read the newspaper and watched the news, I just always took them as condescending and arrogant. Like, they just knew, oh, that's what the paper said. I'm like, well, I don't care.
the news was the truth.
The truth. It's not like I knew it was fake. I didn't know fake news, but it always felt weird to me. And even as I would read it, I'm like, how do people read this crap? Like, how do I even know this is true right now? And I just wouldn't read it because honestly, it just didn't interest me. I was just living my life. I was experiencing my surroundings. I was living anecdotally, if you want to call it that. But we all should be living like that. And now with the advancements of technologies and having access to internet, you can live anecdotally with people in Australia and South Korea and all over the world and realize that each and every one of us are experiencing the exact same thing. We're not hateful beings. We are human beings. We're loving, beautiful creatures. We love. That's what we do. We love. We want to be loved. And the reason why you are hating and you're projecting your hate is because you're hurting on the inside. And these mother effers are taking advantage of your pain and trauma and suffering, and they're turning that against you, and they're turning it into anger and sending you out as Antifa warriors. That's what happened. The freaking snowflakes became Antifa warriors. That's what happened. Holy crap. Who didn't see that coming? Like, you're out there screaming and yelling. I mean, we all remember being that kind of young shit. I was 19 once too. I was a super liberal, but I was part of the system. I was part of the propaganda. I believed it because I believed I was entitled. How selfish. Who the heck are you think you are that you're entitled to something? None of us are entitled to anything except peace, love, and happiness. Go out and work for it. This is scientific fact that you are going to enjoy your life so much more when you go out and earn the things that you have instead of them being given to you. Nobody wants things given to them. It sounds great. It does. But they're turning that into anger and hate. And then now you just hate Orange Man so much that you are going to do everything in your power except look inside of you. Stop looking outside of you for answers. Those answers don't exist. Alcohol, drugs, sex, gambling, that never makes you happy. Go listen to any addict's story and they will tell you the exact same thing. Until I realize that internally is where I am happy is when my recovery was able to begin. And that's what addicts will tell you. And it's spiritual internal. You're angry. Why are you angry? You're not angry at Donald Trump. Don't be ridiculous. Donald Trump does not run your life. He is not responsible for you getting fired last week. He's not responsible for your girlfriend dumping you because you're a lazy piece of shit. Like, he is not responsible for any of that stuff. You are. And until you get your ass off the couch and start taking accountability for your actions, you are never going to be happy. You are going to continue to hate and blame and push and scream and yell and just be full of rage. And then now we are in a world where there are beings that are starving for that energy from you. We are energy creatures. We have magnetism and spirituality and emotions and feelings. We can feel that. We all do. You do. It's just we have been conditioned to not tap into that kind of a gut feeling and go against it. Okay? These mother effers want that negative energy from you, and you're giving it to them. Don't give it to them. When you get angry, that's your body telling you something's up, chill out. Why am I angry? Why am I feeling this way? It's not because Donald Trump is a racist. And if that's what's making you angry, then you got some internal work work to do, homeboy. Like, that's a problem. You don't know this man. You've never seen him in your life. Take control of what you can control. You're waking up each and every morning, going about your day, trying to be helpful, productive, useful citizen in your world, state, and country. Be good to people. Walk an old lady across the street. Hold the door open for someone. Say please and thank you. Pretty simple shit.
No, yeah, I think it's important that people realize that right now, because like, dude, this is not necessarily only the beginning, because you did talk about propaganda in Nazi Germany, right? But dude, like, it's in the middle of it, and it's like the beginning of sort of the beginning of information just being spread so fast, whether it's right or wrong, right? Disinformation, how are you really going to know that? Unless it's something obvious, but like ideologies that's what I'm talking about here. Information around that. I think, Elon, right? I think when AI gets advanced, and I don't even know if I'll be alive at that time, but what if instead of everyone's worried about AI turning into like super soldiers, right? And then killing everybody, right? What if AI, rather than doing that, they rule the world by spreading information faster than anyone could, even the powers that be, right? The humans, whether that's QAnon, Illuminati, whatever you want to call people. That's in the future. And let's talk about the future in a little bit, specifically 2021. Let's get back to business. Let's get back to business. But
Jose is like,
no.
Where did you find this guy?
I'll tell you where. I found him on Twitter.
And on Twitter. And listen, and this, really quick on that. You got to challenge everything. Like, if you're scared of that, then do something about it. If that scares you, then do something.
Yeah, like J-Mac. That's exactly why I said, like,
COVID is scaring you. Right, but if COVID is really scaring you, then go do something about really diving into the information that's being given to you. Go really in there. Do I really need to be afraid of this thing? Does it make sense? Does this all make sense to me? Let me look at the numbers, right? The flu cases have disappeared. What? Come on, what the heck is going on here? CDC has the flu drop down by 95%, and there's people actually out there justifying it. The flu has been around. I'm 39 years old. The flu's been around forever. Like, all of a sudden, the flu's freaking eradicated? Are you kidding me? How does that make any sense whatsoever? And in what world do we live in where people don't die of the flu? People die from the flu all the time. McDonald's is telling me they care about my health and they care about slowing the spread of COVID-19, yet they're feeding me freaking disgusting, delicious food. Like, it is the worst. It is so unhealthy for you. More people die from freaking heart disease than anything else. So you guys care so much about my health, but you're still feeding me fatty, greasy, disgusting foods on a regular basis. Lockdown and no lockdown, that was all available. Cigarettes available on a regular basis. Oh, well, people are allowed to do whatever they want. It's a free country. You're right. It is a free country. And if I want to go out in this free country and take my chances with COVID-19, that is my God-given freedom and right to do that each and every day, to go out and maybe contract COVID-19. That's my responsibility. Stop the spread. What do you mean stop the spread? Stop the spread of what? What exactly? Did we ever stop the spread of the flu? It's a freaking virus. In what world do we live? We haven't even stopped the spread of HIV, for crying out loud. I mean, it's how are you supposed to live in a world where you're going to eradicate disease? It doesn't exist. It's never existed. The Spanish flu in 1918, like you said, if that lasted for 3 years, I'll believe your numbers. I don't know how long it lasted. The Spanish flu, freaking Dr. Fauci has a paper. It was in, I don't remember the year, but maybe 2008. He wrote it. I think it was in 2008. Dr. Fauci wrote a paper. I saw it. I read it in 2008 about the Spanish flu and how more people were dying from bacterial infections than the actual flu. And they were getting the bacterial infections because they were inhaling their disgusting excreted air and then re-inhaling it because of the mask. So when you breathe out, think about what breathing is. You're breathing in fresh, beautiful, natural oxygen, and then you're releasing out toxins and chemicals from your body. It is filtering out your lungs. You are breathing in, and then you're breathing out. What are you breathing out? You're breathing out chemicals and toxins and things that you don't want in your body. You put a mask on, you breathe that back in. More people were getting infections, lung infections, bacterial infections, and dying from that than they were of the actual disease. It's fear-mongering. Fear-mongering is bad. We don't like bullies. We live in a world where we don't like bullies. We chastise bullies because they fear, and they put fear on you, and they abuse you. That's what this is. As a country, as a world, fuck, man. If I was president, like, if seriously, like, and I said this to you, I would have gone out and put, no way, guys, we're going to be fine. Like, we're going to be good. Like, it's all going to be fine, right? Like, you never go out and put fear into people's eyes. Look at everyone rioted. You're supposed to bring them together. I'm a leader. I'm the owner of my business. Like, if I was going out of business, right, nobody's going to know about it except for me. I'm going to tell everybody it's fine, and I'm going to do everything I can to save it, but while also making sure that my people are protected, right? We know that there's high-risk people for COVID. We have a profile. So let's go into the database that we have that's clearly pretty advanced at this point and go find all the people that have these high-risk things, whatever it might be, and get them regimens on what keeps them healthy. Whatever it might be, fruits, veggies. I mean, we talk about health and fitness and all this crap, right? Oh, yeah, you care so much about my health, and then you lock down the gyms. This defies logic. You're telling me you care about my health, but then you're locking down my gym, and I can't go exercise and stay clean and fresh and everything, and you lock me in isolation. Any alcoholic will tell you isolation is not a good thing for your mental health. It's not a good thing for your immunities either. Of course we're getting sick, right? And they're just going to put out these numbers. The numbers are going up. When the fuck was this ever about the numbers? It was 14 days to slow the spread. We did a shitty job of that. That was in March. It's November now. We didn't slow it. It's still going. Shitload of people die. People aren't dying anymore. It sucks. I don't want people to die. I don't want anyone to die. I want no one to die, including people that are rioting and shooting each other in the head. I don't want that to happen either. I don't want people to die of COVID. I don't want people to die of heart disease. I don't want people to get hit by a car. I don't want people to hang themselves. I don't want people to die of lung cancer. I don't want anyone to die. But in some world that we live in, if you go against this COVID narrative, you're some kind of disgusting, despicable human being because you won't wear a mask. No. I don't want to wear my mask. First of all, I have a medical exemption, which people forget is an actual law. HIPAA law actually is available for all of us to take advantage of if we do not want to wear a mask, because it does make people sick. It makes me sick. I don't like wearing them. Nobody likes wearing them. Do we really want to wear them? And how long are we going to wear them for? What, are you going to just wait for the news to tell you it's okay to come out? So that's it. You're a sheep. That's what you are. You are a product of the propaganda machine. Look, somebody's going to wake up watching this. Somebody's going to start thinking, and right or wrong, it doesn't matter. It's for you to decide. It's your life. It's your living. If you want to live in fear, hate, and anger, that's up to you. But then if you're projecting that fear, hate, and anger onto others, that's also on you. And that's going to come back to bite you. Okay? Because karma is a real thing. Okay, you need to be a good human being and take care of others. Like I said, hold the door open for the old lady, give the little girl and the little baby a hug and a kiss, and just be nice to people. It's not easy to do. I understand that. But at the end of the day, if you understand that you're not a nice person, I'm not a nice person. I was a very angry person for a very long time. I've come a long way in this very short year, this very long, short year that we've had. I mean, I'm going down a different tangent here, but anyway, I'm done.
No, I think that's a good point about the mask too, right? I think there's like two, I guess, sides of people. There's like two sides. The people that want to wear the mask, people that don't want to wear the mask, and then like it even goes deeper than that. The people that wear the mask and tell everyone that to wear the mask, and like, dude, there's where's my mask? There's people that wear a mask on a podcast in their room when they're not around anyone to show that, to virtue signal, okay, and show that they're a good person. We've talked about.
And if I may, so then I'm not a good person. That's what we're saying, right? Because if the mask is the ultimate virtue signal that you care about people, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous to think that, because what exactly is that mask doing for you by yourself on your couch in front of your Zoom?
Yeah, dude. But in public, by the way, like in certain places, like I think I told you this already, but I saw this meme, not the idea I was talking about earlier, but an actual meme that we think about today, right? Where it was like, the stupidest thing I've probably done is wear a mask to walk 10 feet to sit at a restaurant and then take it off.
I mean, come on.
And the meme ends, and I've done a lot of stupid things. But
Juan, I'm in AA. I go to AA. I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
AA, and I've been in recovery. I know you know, but I mean, I'm not ashamed of it at all. I'm very proud of it, in fact, and it's helped me tremendously figure out my life and what's really wrong with me. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. We are in the meetings. Everyone has to wear a mask and social distance. Okay, so we have the chairs spread out. Okay,
Right.
the speakers in the front. You're allowed to take your mask off when you're speaking, but when you're not speaking, you need to put it back on, as if somehow, some way, the coronavirus miraculously stays in my system when I'm talking and spitting and stuff, but when I'm sitting and just breathing, it's fine. And then and then everyone congregates outside and is smoking cigarettes. I'm just thinking to myself, like, if this thing was so deadly, right? And wearing that mask, where are the bodies? Like, why are people dropping dead right in front of me? If we had to be like that every time we breathe, then that thing's got to be super, super contagious. That's got to be a scary, scary thing. I mean, we've all video games. Go look at zombie movies. I mean, I'm pretty sure most of us thought that's what we were getting when we first found out about this back in February, that we were getting the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mean to be morbid, but where are the bodies? I understand a lot of them spiked in the beginning, but I want to see the dead people freaking bleeding out in the street already. Where is it? I haven't seen it. So I can be in my AA meeting with my mask on while I'm not talking. And then when I go to share, I take my mask off and I share, and then I put it back on. Like, we're not potty training kids. Like, that's what we do with babies with diapers, right? Like, if they're potty training.
Real quick, there's another side to that too. I mean, I will wear the mask when I need to make people feel comfortable, right, in public places.
Yep.
But
and I respect that.
No, I don't know if the mask does a lot. So I don't virtue signal with it.
But that's a beautiful thing too, Juan. Right? That's a beautiful thing that you do that, because you do care about people, and I do it too. I'll make you feel uncomfortable. But once I'm starting to breathe in my own air, it's going below my nose, and I'm just hold on, I'm breathing fresh air. And I get it. I really, really get it. I really understand why people are scared. I really, really do. But why am I not? Why are others not? Why isn't this really kind of going down the route that we thought? And why was flattening the curve so important? And why is it not important anymore? And it's not important. It never was important. This wasn't about anything. This was about mail-in ballots and getting people to not go to the voting booth so they can freaking fraud this election. I mean, I'm bringing it full circle. That's what it was. And go look. They were saying fraud wasn't possible. Fraud wasn't possible. None of the mainstream media is covering it.
Dude, let's talk about that real quick.
It's everywhere. I don't know how people say it's not everywhere. I mean, Tucker Carlson's talking about it. Craig Hannity's talking about it. The biggest of the big. And then there's plenty of small people sharing a whole bunch of stuff too.
Dude, honestly, I think there's fraud especially in modern history, every election. There's fraud in every election. Like too hard to catch. You're an accountant. You know how much fraud there is. You know how easy this shit is when people are not actually, they don't have the proper controls in place, right? Which even if you do, there's still like all these different ways to get around it. Here's what I think about fraud too. Like, this is super interesting. Justin doesn't like when I talk about blockchain and cryptocurrency. But dude. So I invested when I was investing in cryptocurrency. I invested, and I thought this company was going to blow up. It was called Pole, but it was this cryptocurrency. I believe they try to use it in Africa, but you vote using the blockchain, right? And so, speaking of accounting, that's triple entry accounting, right? That means there's 3 ledgers. I have my transaction on that side. Justin, you have your transaction on that side. And then there's a consensus that, oh yeah, they did the transaction and here's the result. So even if Juan wanted to change it, Justin wanted to change it, you can't go inside and change the records. It's just like what you decided, that's it, right? And by the way, you can't make that same transaction again. So that means I don't get 2 votes. If I was voting, I get 1 vote, it's on the blockchain, and then those are the results, right? If they wanted to minimize fraud, maybe you could still even, defraud the election on blockchain. I don't know. But if you wanted to minimize fraud, it would be on the blockchain, right? But I don't think the government necessarily wants to do that, because I think they do want to, want all this stuff going on, right? So,
they did want all this stuff going on, and it did go on. And that's the thing, right? You're going into and that's why it's unbreakable right now. We're living living in a double entry accounting type of world, bringing back to accounting, right? But you brought up the blockchain because it's the same concept. This is a double entry accounting world. Where'd the money come from? Where's it going? And that's just the way it is. That is where the money come from. Where's it going? And does this person agree with it? Right. And that's the thing. And that's that triple entry. That's that extra layer of protection. And once that connection happens, it can never get broken. And then it has to start its own next layer of triple entry. It can start at that position, but then it's got another triple entry after that. And that's why it just extends and extends. The double entry system isn't like that. But Juan, that's how I started the podcast. This world doesn't even know how to do double entry. We have accountants that are 10, 15 years into their career and they can't book a journal entry. They can't tie out retained earnings. They can't balance a balance sheet. It's pretty common. It's its own pandemic. And this goes all the way to Australia. I talk with Lance Rubin and Model Citizen. I talk with TOA. I talk with, any other accountant in the country. Just finding somebody to understand the double entry system is a cluster. So that being said, since this world is running on a double entry system, that's just the way it is. That fraud and corruption it's not only susceptible to it because people aren't paying attention, it is traceable. Very traceable as well, especially when you are sloppy with it. And that's what we're seeing right now. That the blockchain, not only is it traceable, it's for what we know now, it's hard to prove. It's hard to even do. There's people that don't even know how to do it. Like it's insanity. We can get on, I can't get on my phone without my face and my fingerprint, but we have voter fraud. What? Come on. It's 2020. How's that even possible? Nobody can get into my phone except for me, which means how can you just hook up the same technology to make sure there's no doubt about it? It's me. Face scan it, put it on a button, and you're done. And then it goes away forever. And then we can never use it again. The reason why they don't do it is because they want to cheat. It's easier to cheat this way. That way they can't cheat.
Yeah, super interesting, man. Josiah, do you have anything to say? Do you have any thoughts or any questions?
When we're talking about what's getting reported in the media, I think it's also important to talk about what isn't getting reported. And I have not seen a single one of these news stations talk at all about the election of 1876. I don't even know if people are super familiar with what happened, but you can draw a lot of parallels to what's happening right now.
Is that Lincoln?
It was in that election. What happened was President-elect Tillman won the popular vote, and he won the Electoral College. And we all remember how his presidency went, right?
No, I don't. No.
I don't.
Yeah, you don't.
If I may, just a real quick, Josiah, I only just started paying attention to this stuff this year. I am not a historian. I don't know. So you tell me, I want to
Please
tell me
us.
This is.
Please educate us.
Yeah, educate us.
So President-elect Tillman never became president, despite winning the Electoral College vote. The president who was appointed the president, of course, was Rutherford B. Hayes. So what happens is people like to think that the election is over with the popular vote, but that's not really the case. I heard an example of how this is described. And essentially, it's like a baseball game, okay? There's 13 innings in this baseball game of the election. But after the 9th inning, which is the popular vote, the losing side just always concedes. But there's a lot of these other steps that have to take place. Specifically, the states have to certify. So what happened in 1876 was that there was allegations of fraud. Essentially, the states went to the media more quickly saying, Tillman won. And there was some controversy about that, similar to how there might be controversy about what's happening in this election. And so when it came to certification, some states didn't certify at all. Other states sent multiple people to certify different results. And I'm a bit of an American history buff, a constitutional buff. And there's actually a clause in the Constitution in Article 2, which specifically talks about when there's a disagreement about this. And what happens is the House of Representatives makes a decision about who the president should be. And you would think, that's great for Democrats, but it doesn't go representative by representative. California doesn't get 53 votes. California gets just as many votes as Alaska, one vote per state. So no one's reporting on this, but I think this is the end game that Trump is looking for. If it goes where no one gets those 270 votes, because there's allegations of fraud, because there's not that certification process, well, then the House of Representatives decides the president, state by state basis. There's more red states than blue states. Presumably Trump would win. And it's interesting because the vice president is then decided by the Senate. So it's possible that we'd have a situation where you could have a Donald Trump presidency with a Kamala Harris vice presidency. And that would just be, that would be an interesting thing. But I'm not saying that's likely, who knows, but I'm saying that no one's discussing it.
Sure it is.
You do a Google search for the election of 1876, nothing is coming up. Seemingly no one knows about this, and the media just does not want to report about it. But I think that 2021 will be a very interesting year.
1876?
Hey, Josiah, how did you find out about it, by the way?
So I actually watched a YouTube video about it and did a little research and read the Constitution. And now there has been, there's a recent Supreme Court ruling, which might have some effect on it. But basically, the Supreme Court ruling just very recently said that it would be unconstitutional for a state to certify a result that goes against what the people decided. But again, there has to be a law about that. And there's only a law about that in very few states. I don't think Pennsylvania. I don't think Michigan. I think Nevada does have a law like that. But look, I don't think the election is over, despite what all the media is reporting. I think there's still a few innings to go.
Well, if you believe in the QAnon movement and you believe in what they are doing, it is suggested that this has been a sting operation all along, that they've been setting this up. They knew they were going to cheat, and they've had poll watchers. The media is saying one thing, but they had poll watchers. They had things that were scanned. They set them up. I mean, the ultimate sting operation. They were basically luring in the criminals and the cheaters into the trap, and this was a sting operation. And what I believe will happen is that all the fraud will be uncovered. And I've said this for a long time, and I do believe it. I still believe it because, Josiah, you just brought up something very, very important. Like you just said, what's even crazy is that they don't report. How many states have certified the votes as of today?
0.
None. 0. And they still have to the 17th of December to do it, I believe.
State by state.
State by state, right? So that's the money. That's the ticket.
Yeah,
that's what matters.
By the way, guys, today is Friday the 13th. Shout out to Friday the 13th. Very, I don't know when this is going to air, but very lucky podcast today, just in case.
But what I've said, I've said this publicly, I've said this privately. I do believe that at the end of this election, I don't know when that's going to happen. I know Trump's going to win. I firmly believe that he will stay in office. How that happens, I don't know, and how this end game that I'm going to predict. But I do predict he's going to win all 50 states. I do believe that at the end of this, when this is all reconciled, it's either going to happen the way you said it, Josiah, how it's going to go to that. That's what Nancy Pelosi's been talking about too, is that, then she gets to pick the president. Okay, we'll see what happens. I mean, if you go down the deep rabbit hole on her, that's a different story. But I do believe that either it's going to happen that way, or they're going to count the votes, and either they're going to disqualify a cheater, because that's what happens to cheaters. Like once you cheat, you're disqualified. I mean, I'm sure Josiah can, I'm sure maybe there's something in the Constitution. I don't know if he just, has to give it up or concede, but I do, when this is done, all 50 states are going to be red. That's my personal opinion.
Whoa, that's wild.
I said it. Yeah, I really do. Because when the certification, right now there's 0. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm just as right and wrong, and I'm just as right as I am wrong. But my firm belief is that at the end, all 50 states will certify as a Trump win.
That's super interesting. We'll see, Justin. So,
if Trump remains the president, then I don't think. Then I think the tax code is going to kind of stay the way it is. But let me ask you this, Justin: what do you think is going to happen in 2021 moving forward if it goes the other way and there is this Biden presidency, as all of the media is kind of reporting? How do you think that's going to affect businesses?
It's a great question, Jose. It really is. And it's a question I wish people really understood more and took the emotion out of it, and I'll stay on the tax, but that's where the emotion gets in. You get your emotion and then you get all angry and you're not even paying attention to what's really important. It's your money. It's your money. Taxes are going up and they're going through the roof, guys. They're going to go up way high. Child tax credit's going to be going away. Small business income deductions are going to go away. The tax rates are going to go back up. When Trump came into office, okay, he changed the whole tax code. He lowered the tax rates across the board around 2 to 4% in each bracket. The way taxes work is that taxes is layered. Everyone pays the same amount of tax. Everybody, if you make $1,000 or $100 million, you're paying the same amount of tax going up the layers. The first $10,000 is taxed at this rate. The next $100,000 is taxed at another rate, and it goes up and up and up. And it goes into, and then once you hit the top rate, then all your income above that rate is taxed at that amount. Trump brought down tax rates across the board. All right, it introduced a bunch of credits and deductions for incentives for children and stuff like that. But what he has also done that doesn't get talked about, and he did it now, and this is an executive order that was put in place. You can search this. This exists. This exists because I have clients that have taken advantage of it, and I am one that has taken advantage of it. A payroll tax holiday has been enacted, which means there's a holiday on payroll tax, which means you don't have to pay payroll tax. Payroll tax is made up of Medicare and Social Security. Social Security is 6.2% of your wages up to $140,000. And then Medicare is 1.45% taxed on all of your wages. There's no ceiling. So Social Security, you're capped out at 140. Anything you make over that, you don't pay Social Security, but you do pay Medicare. That's 7.65% of your income that Donald Trump, and I can all but guarantee you, no employer informed you about it. No payroll department informed you about it. Nobody even informed you that this has been going on for months because of the pandemic. What he allowed is to give you a holiday on 7.65% of your income where you didn't have to pay it as a loan. The way the rule was originally worked was that you can defer your payroll tax for the rest of 2020, which would have been 4 months by the time September, October, November, December. He did it in August. So it would have been 4 months. And then you would have to pay it back January, February, March, and April. So you would so it's like robbing. I mean, it's a cash flow move, right? A little bit of relief, but I'm going to want that money back because people rely on Social Security and Medicare, right? That being said, he has said this publicly. I've seen him say this. I have a video on this. I heard it with my own 2 ears. If he wins the presidency, he is going to eliminate payroll tax. Eliminate it. People don't understand this. He is eliminating the payroll tax, 7.65% on top of the tax cuts he already made. And I said that 2 to 4% across the board. We're like at 10%. That's a huge freaking number. If Biden takes office, that's all bye-bye. That's gone. See you later. Hasta la vista. It's not going to happen. And then they're going to go up and then it's just less money in your pocket at the end of the day. I mean, that's as simple as it is. I mean, the tax rates are going up. You can say goodbye to your payroll tax holiday that you didn't even know about. You didn't even know you had it because the media doesn't report it. How is that not top news story the next day? If the media cared so freaking much about you, don't you think they would be telling you that there's this new rule that the beautiful president just put into play to put more money in your pocket? No, but they're going to talk about PPP like that freaking matters. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so
yeah. So that's interesting. You mentioned that about the media because they're going to talk about how the rapper 50 Cent voted for Trump because he had a better tax plan and 50 Cent didn't want his money messed with. But in that same segment, they're not going to bring in a tax professional. They're just going to talk about 50 Cent.
No, I mean, JJ should be on every single news. America's CPA. I mean, JJ should be on every single news station talking about the tax code. I mean, that's just not my bread and butter. I don't, JJ is better with that kind of stuff. But like, I mean, how are there not? I mean, remember we did this on the COVID task force on the podcast that we were doing. 535 members. There was 100 in the Senate, 434 in the House. Josiah, only 8 of them are certified public accountants. Only 8, which. This is a business. I mean, this is tax. I mean, the House of Representatives, the whole Congress, there's 535 of them putting together this payroll protection program that is completely dependent on the accounting industry to have it done properly. Yet you have 1.5% representation of the highest credential that is required for that type of program, even just sitting in the room. And most likely, more than that, they're not even involved in the conversations to have that program put together. How is that possible? How are you telling me that Jeff Bezos doesn't pay any tax and people are writing angry freaking hit pieces on Amazon about not paying tax and not talk about anything else that comes with that, including the fact that he pays a ton of personal tax? And he's got a ton of incentives. I mean, that's the thing with, right. That's it. And same thing with Trump. Oh, we only paid $700. You guys don't know what you're talking about. That's the point.
Yeah. Talk about, that's a good point. Talk about the Yahoo headline a minute.
The Times on the Trump taxes.
No. The Yahoo headline. You made a video about this. When everyone was complaining about Jeff Bezos paying $0, and then Yahoo phrased it in some way. What did they say?
I don't remember, but the gist of it was and the reason why I did the video is because, again, they were just leaving out extremely important pieces of information that are part of the narrative, which then makes it not even a news story. He was getting he was getting economic development credits. The government wants you to develop the economy. If you have money, they give you incentives to spend that money and stimulate the economy by building warehouses and creating jobs, etc. They will give Amazon, the corporation, tons of tax credits because they are going to develop an entire business, employ a ton of people, and then they're going to pay tax on their income. So it's like it's the investment. The government makes an investment in the business. The business gets all the benefits of it because they have the capital, and they say you don't have to pay any tax because you're going to develop the economy. Beautiful, beautiful thing. There's special depreciation rules that are in play where you can buy capitalized assets with long-term life that you're supposed to depreciate over that useful life and take all of that in the first year. All of these are all, there's nothing, there's no loopholes. And that's what it was, the loophole. They were saying Jeff Bezos is going through these loopholes. No loopholes. The tax credits and incentives, economic development opportunities, special bonus depreciation opportunities, those are written in the tax law. In fact, he's doing exactly what the law. Right, he's following the law, and Trump did the same thing, and that's what you're not getting the whole piece. Like Josiah just said, I mean, how are we not talking about the 1876 election right now? I would think that'd be a pretty interesting story, considering we're experiencing something very similar to that right now.
Oh, that's interesting. And also, real quick on that, I'm super frustrated. You know that I'm an advocate for the accounting space, JMac, but I it's just a pet peeve when people will say things like, oh, well, Jeff Bezos just knows how to play the game, right? Trump knows how to play the game. Like, with tax. No, like, are you kidding me? Like, they're talking to their accountants. Their accountants know how to play the game. Jeff Bezos, Trump is not there. Like, where can I do that? Dude, he's asking his accountants. He's like, put me in the best position. Here's a lot of money.
Right. He's using a professional, and that's, again, they're tapping into your emotional. They're pulling your emotional strings. They know it's going to piss you off. That's why they're giving it to you. They want you to be mad. And then just not going to give you the full story because they know you're not going to dive into it. You're not going to call up a CPA and like, yo, JMac, is that accurate? I'm going to say, nope, not even close. Don't even think about it. I have a podcast that we just did with the numbers guys. And we broke down Trump's tax returns. You know, we broke down the narrative that was in the New York Times. I mean, how are we even talking about that stuff, right? Where were the CPAs? Where are the CPAs discussing that? On Amazon, you're saying that Amazon is doing loopholes in the tax code. Okay, great, awesome. Where's the CPA? Doesn't exist. Weird. So why are you putting doctors on a podium to talk about COVID? So why aren't you giving me the professionals? You're only going to give me the professionals in what, certain circumstances? It's not the way this world is. It's not the way we work. It's not the way we operate. It's why we're all freaking fighting and hating each other because nobody knows what to believe.
Yeah. So you mentioned the numbers guys. Explain to the audience what you're a co-founder of the numbers guys. Tell us what's going on there. Y'all got some big things planned.
Yeah, it's a company I'm a co-founder of. Kind of stepped into it. Wasn't my original idea. Connected with a couple of guys on LinkedIn, and got involved with the company. Over time, the original founders they took a step back. This was more of a hobby for them, and the numbers guys, what we are, we're a global corporation. We're a domestic corporation. We have it's a global network of accountants, finance, and tax professionals, and it's a collaborative effort to just put together accounting, tax, and finance content. Currently, it's a blog. It started off as just a blog and a website, the-numbers-guys.com. We are changing that. We're working on a new website. and we've published. I've published my books under the Numbers Guys brand name, and we've had other contributors contribute articles and also publish books underneath the umbrella. The goal is to grow this to be the go-to place for accounting and tax content, information. Ask a CPA, right? That kind of thing. Like, how do I find out this information? You go to the Numbers Guys. You type in a chat. You have a subscription. You pay a fee. You get it for free, whatever it might be, depending on the layer of service. We're trying to figure all of that out and see what the market is going to absorb, because in a world where H&R Block exists, that same company can exist in the opposite sense, which is going to be the Numbers Guys. You're going to them for information. You're not getting anything. You're going to come for us with information, and then you're going to go to their store and you're going to educate them on how taxes work. And that's what we're going to do, because there is no one-stop shop, no one place people can go to, because accountants are weird as it begins with. We don't have, my personality is extremely unique to be a CPA. I understand that. Most of them are just kind of nerdy old white dudes that don't really have, most of them have Asperger's, right?
Hey, I've been through the halls of PricewaterhouseCoopers.
So you know what I'm talking about. So what we're doing now is we've been producing podcasts. We brought Terrell Turner on board, who's an accountant in the North Carolina area. I have Carl Kern. He's the CEO. He's a professor at Dean's College in Fall River, Massachusetts. And then we have collaborators throughout the world. Lance Rubin, model citizen in Australia, Hitan Kavev, bottoms up approach in South Africa. And again, it's just all articles, but now we're doing the podcasting. We're going to have a subscription. We're going to have a Patreon account at some point, and it's going to be access to CPAs on demand. And what we're also going to do is we're going to develop an internship program to take advantage of this new global connected world that we have. Internships, as you remember, Juan, are not that great. I mean, how much did you really learn in your internship? And I'm sure you've probably learned a lot more in JX4 just by talking to JJ and I than you did in your internship. What
I didn't learn a lot about accounting in my internship. I learned how to navigate the corporate ladder, like, very quickly.
Yeah, which is great, and that's a great thing, right?
But no, don't hire me to do your accounting.
And what we're going to offer students access to firms and a global firm. I mean, you have access to the Numbers Guys. You're actually going to pay us for your internship. It's going to be a little bit of a different. You're going to subscribe to us, and you're going to get access to up to 5, if not more, by the time we launch this, global accounting firms from small to big. And you're going to have an opportunity to basically work within these companies, even if it's shadowing the staff, watching what's going on, joining conference calls, client meetings, prospecting meetings. You're going to basically subscribe to your career and get insight and information and experience in how global firms are working, not just going to Price Waterhouse and making copies and doing freaking engagement letters.
Let me talk about that for a little bit. Because that's very true, right? I'm not just backing you up here, but let's say you want to be, right? You want to be an accountant, and you want to be a very freaking, like, in terms of your accounting ability, a very powerful accountant, right? Like, intern for one of these guys that are well known in the space, right? In the accounting world, that have smaller shops, right? For me, I already knew I was going to make a marketing firm one day. I just didn't know when. I thought I would stay with PricewaterhouseCoopers a little bit longer, but I saw the opportunity, so I jumped. But it was still all about marketing myself in that environment and communication. I won me and my partners won the National Honor Society for Accountants, right? The competition based off communication, not some accounting test. Not doing the actual accounting, right? Not doing the numbers. But if you want to actually do the numbers and I'll put it like this, put it very easy for you. Let's say you go into accounting. After 5 years, if you want to be better than someone that would be at PricewaterhouseCoopers at the ability of accounting, then I think you should intern for the Numbers Guys. I'm gonna give you all that endorsement. Because it's true. It's honestly true. They're gonna learn a ton. And your team, those 2 girls that you have right on your team, they're probably learning a ton. I don't know. Are they? They probably knew a ton already. But
yeah, Look, and you guys want to be entrepreneurs. I mean, you're watching this show because you want proven results and you want to see success. And I'm telling you, look, it's the language of business, ladies and gentlemen. All right. If you start with that. I mean, if you're in school right now, you're thinking about what you want to do with your career. You don't have to be a CPA. You don't have to be an accountant. Go study it though. You go get that degree and you can become a business owner. You can start your own business. You have any idea the advantage you would have? That's why Grant Cardone is so successful. He doesn't tell you. He just doesn't tell you about it. He's a CPA, or he wasn't, right? He was, or he's
got his accounting degree. He did the same thing as me.
Right.
I don't have a CPA.
Right. He's got his accounting degree, right? And Jordan Belfort, his mom and dad are both CPAs. He grew up around CPAs. Do you think that's a coincidence he's as successful as he is? I understand he's controversial, but I mean, he's come back from that and he's the Wolf of Wall Street and everything. But he has both of his parents were CPAs. That's not a coincidence. He was experiencing that lifestyle from the earliest of age because both of his parents were in the business of translating numbers to business owners and taxpayers. You'll never, this industry is so available that there are people that don't even have an accounting degree that are operating in it and doing very, very well because they've figured out how to do the marketing piece. And even though they don't even have the proper credentials, let alone the proper degree from a college, they're able to make a living because that's how desperate we are for this type of work. And the world doesn't even realize the type of opportunity that's available in the accounting. And no, I don't like numbers and I'm bored. Okay, well, do you like money? Because money's a number. I mean, $1 is a number. You might not like numbers, but you do like money. And if you're going to be number phobic, you either got to hook up with somebody that is the complete antithesis of you, or you got to grind it out just like you were trying to get some gains on your muscles or lose some weight or, work hard at anything else that you might want to do. It's not going to be handed out to you. Gary Vee's just not going to call you up and offer you an internship. It's not going to happen.
Definitely. And then on the flip side too, for any accountants out there or other professionals that are just not, some people just don't get on podcasts, right? And they're not comfortable being in front of the camera. They don't have, I guess, great sales skills either, great marketing skills. Well, sales, it's like the most important skill if you want to make money. But let's say you don't want to do that. Okay, that's fine. But you need to find someone on your team and get someone to do that for you, right? And you can go do quiet work. My younger brother, he does a lot of my quiet work, but he's not going to get on like the freaking camera and say a lot at all. So, yeah, man. Anyway, do you have anything to say, Josiah? Any questions, any thoughts before we wrap up here in a minute?
Yeah. As an attorney, I find that some of the best clients that I've ever had, and it's by word of mouth. It's somebody liking the services that you provide and then referring their friends. And I think that's what's so powerful about personal branding. If you're able to establish yourself as this expert in the topic, if you've shown that you can have these proven results, what's going to happen is the people that are following you are going to see that. They're going to recognize you as that expert and they're going to relate to you. And then when they need your services or when one of their friends do, it's going to be your name that they mention. When all of a sudden a friend asks them about an accountant, about an attorney, about a plastic surgeon, whatever the case may be, if you're the one on their social media, if they see your face week after week, that's going to be the person that the friend is referred to. That is the power of personal branding. And I think so few people are really utilizing it to its full potential. That's why I got into this. I know Juan does this for accountants and for other professionals, and it's really so powerful. I often take this road trip from Fort Worth to Dallas, Texas, and I still see these billboards of these attorneys with their face and one line, Ed the lawyer can, hurt in a wreck, call Ed the lawyer. Well, people are not going to rely on just what they're told on these billboards. They're not just going to call Ed because his name's on a billboard. What Ed needs to do is get on social media, have a podcast, produce these type of videos where he's providing value to these people, And then it might not be actualized in a day or a week. It might not be one post, but eventually that's going to lead to that kind of familiarity, which does lead to business. And, that's why I got into this, and it's something I'm very passionate about. And I think that a lot of people can prosper from doing this kind of marketing.
No, that's a good point. And Justin, since you had already you were in your 30s, right, when you quit, right? So you had already sorry.
I was fired.
He's like, I was fired.
I was fired immediately.
You guys should find other podcasts that J-Mac has done, because he talks about that in depth.
I do.
Some specifics. Pretty specific.
Funny story. Another podcast though. It's a pretty amazing story.
That's funny. Yeah. But
35. I was 35. 35.
You're 35. Yeah. So you had already built that network of people that knew you, right? Clients that wanted to stay with you when you left, right? So that was awesome for you. You got business. Now it's like, great. You know me. I introduced you to Andy Schwartzer, co-founder of Flux Official, right? Who they had when I brought this company up before, but that podcast with and JX4 Masterminds, that's unreleased, but I brought them up on that podcast when they had 13,000 followers, and like I met Flux when they had like 2,000. So at that point, and 2 weeks later, they had 13,000. Right now, as of today, they have 81,000 followers on Instagram. And the reason I bring Andy up is because Andy, for me, I've had meetings with them and stuff like that. But eventually, Andy knew a guy with the yacht. So he introduced me to the guy that had the yacht, who then my company, my team, Remy Salou, you might know, Justin, we went and did a commercial for that yacht company, right? Brought models on the yacht, made some great media, showed a little bit more what we could do. Then someone reached out to us just from seeing that. The next day I was at a mansion doing an event there. The next week after that, I was at the mansion doing an event again. Eventually I met a billionaire who ended up spending $10,000+ on my birthday to throw me a birthday party, who I had just met, right? And maybe we'll do some cool things in the future. And we threw the Halloween party at his mansion too. But I set up that to say this, like, that was great networking for me, but it was also great networking and a great referral process for Justin, because when Andy needed, hey, do you know an accountant? I was like, dude, my favorite accountant, my favorite client. All right, you gotta go see Justin. So how are you and Andy working together now? Because like this is all word of mouth, right?
I talk to him a couple times a week. A couple times a week. I got a client. I closed business on our second month, and it's going great. And he's giving me a couple other leads. I mean, we're talking. I hung up with somebody before our podcast here that I want to refer to him, because he's got a few revenue streams. And it's really like Josiah was saying too, this you got to network. You don't maybe have to do the podcast, but you got to put yourself out there, get on a video call and have yourself a one-to-one meeting with somebody. I mean, when you guys are in Texas, I'm here in New York. There's no reason why anybody throughout the world can't do it, let alone the country. Andy and I talk weekly just to check in, and he's checking in because he referred a buddy to me. So it's an important relationship for him. So he wants to make sure that he's taken care of. It's going well. They sell things on Shopify, and it's complex shit. It's complex stuff. It's the accounting it's tough. I mean, it's good. It's good stuff, but now that it was the first month, was like, whoa, this is a lot of stuff. This is a lot of accounting. How many people are out there doing this type of work? And there's a ton. I mean, kids are making $100,000, several $100,000 a year selling stuff on Shopify. I can only imagine the money they're leaving on the table because these reports are beefy. But it's going good. I mean, he's like he's a serial entrepreneur, and like Josiah said, I mean, you want to hook up with other like-minded individuals like that. I mean, just because you're going to be networking with JMac and CPA Enterprises doesn't mean you have to refer me accounting work, or even vice versa. I mean, there could be other opportunities. Crap, you could start your own business idea, and that's the beautiful thing about what all three of us do. All three of us are talented at a skill set and have a trade. That trade is either converted into services for dollars or for sweat equity. I got an opportunity recently. I haven't heard from the guys actually. I am a co-founder. I'm going to be on the investor deck as a small investor as the tax guy. And the only reason why I did was because of my content. They looked into me. They found me on YouTube. They watched the things. They checked me out on LinkedIn, and then they reached out to me and they offered me equity in their company to be their accountant. And I said, of course, I absolutely will take that. And the only reason why that's possible is because, like Josiah just said, putting yourself out there. I did the podcast. They're there forever. I mean, if you think for 1 second you're going to do a podcast, you're going to get business the next day, you got another thing coming to you. One podcast ain't going to do it. You look me up, CPA JMac. You guys are going to, there's a ton of stuff. I've been working on this for a long, long time. I'm starting to get some of the fruits of that labor really going now. I mean, it takes a long time. And then I'm selling accounting services. Holy crap. You have any idea how hard that is? Especially when I got to deal with H&R Block and Intuit TurboTax propaganda. It's freaking insane. It's crazy. But it's all good. Yeah, Andrew's good, man. I mean, it's exciting stuff. I mean, it's just the way the world's going. This is just the beginning. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities ahead. I'm certainly feeling pretty positive about it. I'm happy to be here. You guys are, this is going to be cool.
Let's go. It's just the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Last question
Sure.
here.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about? Speaking of, this is just the beginning, man. Oh, let's get out of quarantine. What are you most excited for going forward?
Truth and reconciliation. Truth and reconciliation. I feel Mark Twain, another Mark Twain quote, my favorite one. If you always tell the truth, you never have to remember anything. I'm paraphrasing. If you always tell the truth, you never have to remember anything. I mean, just that one quote alone has just really inspired me to just be humble and honest with myself and hold myself accountable. Being an AA helps, and going through the steps and the AA and all that crap. And what that's provided me is just this desire for just honesty and truth and raw authenticity, like just honest, raw authenticity. And I know it's crazy right now, but the theme is fear and lies and deceit and uncertainty. And I'm very confident, and I'm very hopeful and looking forward to the antithesis of that happening, because as a society, we can't stay in this world anymore. We cannot live like that anymore. We just cannot. And I'm very much looking forward to a world where it's going to be about truth and reconciliation and honesty. And I really, really firmly believe, listen, if Biden's going to be in office, it's going to be a different story. And then I'm going to have to figure out how to live in a communist country, but that's another podcast, right? But what am I looking forward to mostly? In my bones of bones, in my everything that I am so looking forward to having a world where we are all going to be connected. Finally, it is going to work. It's going to take time, but I do firmly believe that 2021, we all thought 2020 was going to be the year, and we were wrong as wrong. But the reason why is because it's going to be the next year that's going to be the year. It's going to be 2021. I'm looking forward to, yeah. I mean, look, I'm on a podcast talking about every conspiracy theory in the world right now. And honestly, I'm not afraid to admit it. Like there was a time where people wouldn't even speak like that because you don't want to be criticized. Well, what is a conspiracy theory even? Like, you even know where that word came from? And if you don't, you should look it up before you start labeling somebody as it. And maybe you should consider why they think that kind of stuff. And what I feel from all of that is us coming together. What is really real? What is true? Is the earth really flat? Because let's figure that shit out, okay? Did they really go to the moon, right? What really happened to JFK? What really happened to 9/11? Where did all of these things come from? Because the people that have been telling us that stuff align to us now, and I don't see that staying the same. I see that changing. How long is that going to take to change? I don't know. But I do believe that 2021 is going to be the year of that change, and we're going to go into a truth and reconciled type of world, because we need to heal from this year. Regardless of how it ends, we need to heal from this year. This has been traumatic for everybody, and we need to go into a deep mourning and healing period. And I do believe it's going to start with the truth.
Awesome. Josiah, how about you? What are you looking forward to in 2021?
You know
Let's
what I'm
go.
very excited about? I live here in Texas now, but I'm actually from a little town in Buffalo, New York. And what I'm excited for is my Buffalo Bills, I firmly believe, are going to win the Super Bowl for the first time in history. And I called this at the beginning of the year. I placed a small wager on the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl. I have a feeling that I might be there in Florida to watch the event, maybe have a party with Juan.
Yeah, dude, come to Florida. We're already gonna have an event there. I'm already talking to the event company over there. You're coming. We gotta go. But let's go.
Absolutely.
I hope the Buffalo Bills make it. No, keep going. You were talking, but keep going, Josiah.
It's just their time. It's going to be they just have a really good team. I'm just confident, good things are going to come in 2021. I feel like this year, like they said, tumultuous year, crazy year, but I'm confident for the future. I think 2021 things are really going to go well.
Awesome. I guess I'll go next. Dude, oh my God. I'm just so pissed off. I have this vendetta with COVID-19, Corona, ruined my freaking plans for 2021. Some of you out there, I think CPA primetime ended when I was still in Silicon Valley.
Yeah, I don't think you did an episode in Texas.
Yeah. So some viewers, I guess, might know me as like Juan from Silicon Valley. I'm actually from San Antonio, but glad to be back in Texas. I moved back to Austin last Halloween, like a day before Halloween. And I moved to Austin specifically to throw events, to throw South by Southwest music events. I did set some up, and then that week was the week everyone started freaking out. Everything got canceled. Both of my events got canceled, and I was like, oh, fine, whatever. And I was like, whatever, we'll throw events in the summer when this is over. It wasn't over in the summer. People were still scared to come out. Here on the back half of summer, though, we figured it out a little bit, throwing a little bit of smaller, more VIP exclusive events, right? Not everyone, like those aren't parties specifically. I'm not trying to get everyone COVID. There's actually a limit and a process to even end up at events I'm talking about right now. But I'm just super excited to execute my real plan if we can throw larger events in Austin, Texas in 2021. I'm still so happy with what happened. I text my mom a couple days after Halloween. I was like, you know what? It's been a year. I think that was a good first year back. For COVID stopping me how it did, if you go and look at my Instagram and the events we've been throwing, I mean, I came to Austin and did it. And by the way, shout out to the whole team in Austin, the whole squad. Shout out to Josiah too. He's been at a couple of events, and just the whole, like, just to give some context, me and Josiah and I are part of this marketing community that not only talks about marketing, branding, we also know how powerful events are. And we have this world alliance, right? Where we're going to show up to different events, stuff like that. But which city, Josiah, is this entire group really looking at right now? And like, what's like the first city everyone wants to come to?
Well, it's got to be Austin, Texas.
Yeah. Our entire, like, I don't know how many people are in that group, tons of people, but everyone is just like amazed at the media and the events we've been able to create in Austin. So very, very excited to do that whole thing with steroids in 2021. We're going to get it done. That's it. That's all I got to say. Any closing words, J-Mac?
No, this is great. I mean, only a 2-hour podcast. I mean, we could usually go longer than this, but it was nice. I mean, Josiah, it was nice to meet you. I look forward to getting to know you a little bit more, and I'm honored to be part of your guys' network. I'm here to help. Look, I'm here to make money, but I'm not here to, get rich off any one person. I'm here to help you. It doesn't have to be a business relationship. Don't be shy. You can reach out to me. You can find me on social media, pretty much every handle. Every platform is at CPA JMac. You could follow me on pretty much everything there, www.cpa.enterprises. That's my website. Or you can email me, justin@cpa.enterprises. There's no .com, it's .enterprises. www.cpa.enterprises. And you guys, listen, reach out. I'm here to help small business owners, taxpayers. I got a lot of knowledge in this tax and accounting stuff. I'm here to really put a mark in this industry. It's time the H&R Blocks and the TurboTaxes of the world go away. They're bad for business. They're bad for your health. They're bad for my industry. And we're gonna do something about it.
What did oh my god, what did the TurboTax commercial say this past tax season? Everyone's an accountant. Everyone can do taxes. Dude, they messed that up, guaranteed. Like the people that did their
Ridiculous.
own stuff had too much to do.
We didn't
But,
even talk about my H&R Block stories.
dude, H&R. Oh my god, let's fuck it. Let's go right now.
I can't. I gotta go pick up my daughter. I can't. Yeah, I can't.
Anyway,
I gotta end it.
another time.
Another
Right, I'll
time.
just say
So
this.
I
I'll just say
right.
Dude,
Right.
H&R
Yeah.
Black DM'd this guy. We'll talk about it another time. But like, oh my god, he got in this whole thing with H&R Black specifically. But anyway, I'll put all those links that he mentioned to his social below. Go reach out. If you're on Instagram, it'd be pretty cool if you went and followed him on Instagram. And even DM'd him. Like, when can you talk to an accountant? Like, you can DM him. Like, when in history could you talk to an accountant without getting billed at all, or just reach out? Go send him a DM. He'll DM right back. But follow Josiah. I will put the links to all our socials below. And real quick, anything to say, Josiah, before we go?
No, J-Mac, thanks a lot for coming on. Great conversations that we had, and look forward to speaking with you again.
You too, man. I'm following you right now. I'm assuming that's your handle. So I'm looking
Yes,
you up.
Josiah ESQ.
Cool, man. No, I appreciate it, guys. This was great. Thank you so much.
Let's do it. A hell of a first episode, and that's a wrap.